But in terms of your essential question, I would put it in this kind of order. First of all, it's self-regulation. You're dealing with a group of people who are very closely bound together, and in many cases whose lives depend on the loyalty and the support of their colleagues. And you find this in other professions. You can find it in parts of the medical profession, you can find it in the fire service, for example. You have to depend that the guy next to you is going to do the necessary. And so you have these very intense bonds. And in those sort of circumstances, external regulation has a function, but it's internal regulation, self-regulation. And if they haven't internalized the right value system, you have real trouble. So the first, where I would start, is what is the moral code, if you like, that the agencies, the leadership of the intelligence agencies are actually applying. And they have the greatest influence on what happens in their agencies. Now, to check up on that, you need some external supervision. So that's where I would say you have what I describe as oversight by proxy. So we have to, as the public, have a group of people that we trust to, on our behalf, go inside the magic circle and find out what is going on and tell us if it's not being done right. What we can't expect is either that we are allowed in or the media are allowed in on our behalf. That just destroys the value of an intelligence agency. And we can't expect that the oversight body is going to publish nice long reports that provide historians with great material. You can have that in 30 years, but we can't have it now. So who are these people who are going to be the guardians? Now at the moment we've got parliamentarians from the House of Lords and the House of Commons in the Intelligence and Security Committee under quite a lot of public criticism for not being effective enough. Some of that criticism I think is misguided, but some may well be justified in that have they got the resource? Why isn't that committee always chaired by a member of the opposition party so you don't get accusations that the government of the day is nobbling them and so on. But if you get a committee like that working properly, and in my day, as it were, when Tom King, for example, was chairman, it did work extremely well. If that works well, that's a good safeguard, because that can directly check on, if you like, the moral compass of the people inside who are leading the agency. Then there's another set of overseers, which is in terms of the use of state power. So tapping your telephone, burglaring your house or whatever. These powers need to be on a statutory basis, and somebody needs to check on how that power is being used. We have, in the UK, have judges to do that. So you've got 3 senior judges in different capacities with the right to walk in and examine books and find out how those powers are being used. So
we, the public, aren't allowed to know how much that goes on, are we, by and large?
You're allowed to know how many warrants are signed. And that's actually quite interesting, because the impact of the terrorist activity in the last few years means the number of cases of warrants signed by the Home Secretary has gone up very dramatically. But we know that. That's published information. But what we can't know is who the warrants are on. We do need, I think, another safeguard is a right of redress. So if we think, you think, that the state, through these agencies, is interfering with your privacy, bugging your telephone or whatever, there has to be a mechanism where you can have that tested independently. And if the law is being broken, that you will get redress. And we've got that with a tribunal, again, headed by an independent judge.